No one likes when the doctor walks into the room to give terrible news or predictions about their health. This gets worse when you find out about something potentially terrible by accident. This was the case for Chris Hemsworth while he was shooting a new series, Limitless. This revelation left him in quite a meditative state, and he has resolved to take some drastic actions. But before we go into these actions, how has Chris Hemsworth fared as an actor? And will his actions affect his future as a movie actor? Let us take a look at the life of the 39-year-old actor. Childhood. It's no surprise to many that the Marvel actor, alongside his brothers, was born in Australia. Chris was born on the 11th of August 1983 in Melbourne and spent his formative years in the city. His mother, Leonie, is an English teacher, while his father, Craig Hemsworth, is a social services counselor. Of the three Hemsworth brothers, Chris is the second son behind Luke, born in 1980, and before Liam, born 7 years after him. All three brothers are actors. Although Chris spent his childhood and was basically brought up in Melbourne, many memorable parts of his childhood were from his time at the Outback in Bulman, Northern Territory. He went to high school at Heathmont College before returning to the Northern Territory and after a few years moving to Phillip Island. His rise to glory in acting. Before big acting roles in Thor and Extraction, Chris Hemsworth started off with some roles that were not globally known. Hemsworth began his career as an actor, appearing in a number of different television shows. In the year 2002, Hemsworth played the role of King Arthur in 2 episodes of the fantasy television series 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 Jones, 1 episode of the soap opera series Neighbours, and 1 episode of the legal procedural television series Martial Law. The year after that, he made a guest appearance on an episode of The Saddle Club. In 2004, Hemsworth tried out for the part of Robbie Hunter on the Australian soap show Home and Away. Although he was not chosen for the part, he was later considered for the part of 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐤𝐿. He relocated to Sydney to become a part of the cast, and has since appeared in 171 episodes. On July 3, 2007, he announced his departure from the cast of Home and Away. Hemsworth later remarked that even though Home and Away helped him become more visible in the public eye, the fact that he worked on a soap opera did not earn him respect in the film industry. Abby Ross, a professional dancer, was Hemsworth's partner during the 5th season of Dancing with the Stars Australia. Together, they competed for the title of champion. The season began on September 26, 2006, and Hemsworth was the first contestant to be eliminated on November 7, 2006, after a run of 6 weeks. The producers of the Marvel film franchise feared that fans would be turned off by Hemsworth's appearance in the franchise, which almost caused them to not cast him in the role of Thor. By 2009, Chris Hemsworth would go on to play the role of George Kirk, the father of James T. Kirk in the opening scenes of J.J. Abrams' film Star Trek. While he did not get so much screen time, his performance was really appreciated by Abrams, and Josh Tyler, the founder of CinemaBlend, also commented on how Hemsworth's 5 minutes was the best 5 minutes he had spent in cinema that year. This role was also instrumental in bringing Chris into the views of the American audience. That same year, he was in the thriller A Perfect Getaway. He played the role of 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. The movie received a mixed reception. While it made more than the budgeted amount, it was not a massive success. However, Hemsworth received plaudits for his interpretation as a thuggish backpacker, which was described as appropriately scary. Screen Rant's Paul Young deemed Hemsworth's performance solid. Hemsworth went on to play Sam with the English actor Sean Bean in the film Cash in 2010, which was the first film he shot after arriving in the United States. Stephen Milburn Anderson, who directed the movie, noted that Chris Hemsworth had only been living in the United States for a total of 6 weeks at the time of the audition for the role. Hemsworth was cited as one of the young male performers who was pushing or being pushed onto the Hollywood A-list, in an article published in November 2010 by The Hollywood Reporter. The Rise of Thor. Before his big break as Thor, Chris was getting desperate. He'd been applying for roles and getting rejected. He applied for the role of Gambit in the X-Men and didn't get it. He also got very close to the role of G.I. Joe but didn't get it either. By this time, he was moving from audition to audition, spending more than he was making. While the letdowns were straining his relationship with his family and causing him to be broke, everything was leading up to him getting the role of Thor. That same year, Chris's big break came in the form of a hammer-wielding Marvel superhero named Thor. Thor. Chris was able to catapult himself into the limelight in Hollywood because of the opportunity he was given to play the character of Thor. In a twist of fate, he was chosen for the position instead of his brother Liam and Tom Hiddleston, who was ultimately cast in the role of Loki. To improve his chances of being cast in the part of Thor, the audition required him to put on 20 pounds of muscle. The movie was a huge success, grossing $449.3 million. It was the 15th highest grossing movie of that year. As for Hemsworth, his portrayal of the God of Thunder was so well received, he was slated to reprise the role in subsequent Marvel movies. The next Marvel movie he starred as Thor was in The Avengers, which hit the big screens in 2012. He acted as Thor, a superhero alongside 6 other heroes. The collection of heroes included a cast of talented actors, including Robert Downey Jr., who played the role of Tony Stark/Iron Man, Chris Evans, who acted as Steve Rogers/Captain America, Mark Ruffalo, who acted as Bruce Banner/Hulk, Scarlett Johansson, who played the role of Natasha Romanova/Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner, who acted as Clint Barton/Hawkeye. The movie was a huge success, grossing $1.5 billion, and in a way ushered in a wave of mega-sales movies from the Marvel franchise. Chris also began to develop a well-rounded relationship with his fellow cast that went beyond the big screens. In 2012, the horror film The Cabin in the Woods was released. Chris had filmed the movie back when he played George Kirk in Star Trek, but the release was delayed. The movie received positive reviews, and so did Hemsworth. His next movie that year with a huge commercial success was Snow White and the Huntsman. It saw Chris Hemsworth star opposite Kristen Stewart. While there was criticism with regard to the on-screen chemistry between both stars, the movie ultimately grossed $396 million worldwide. That same year, he played Jed Eckert in the Red Dawn remake. The movie received negative reviews and did not perform so well at the box office, grossing less than the budget spent on it. He has gone on to act in other movies. In 2013, he was in the sports drama Rush, where he played the role of James Hunt, a Formula One world champion. This movie was a massive success at the box office. Later that year, he reprised his role in Thor: The Dark World. While Thor: The Dark World made a decent profit, it didn't do too well with its audience, becoming the lowest-rated Marvel movie at the time. Chris Hemsworth continued his run for Marvel, starring in subsequent movies including Avengers: Age of Ultron, Thor: Ragnarok, and Avengers: Infinity War, amongst others. Besides his success with the Marvel franchise, he has been significantly active in other major movies, including The Huntsman: Winter's War, where he reprised his role as Eric. Although the movie did not do badly at the box office, there were issues regarding the chemistry between both lead actors, a sort of repeat of the first movie. He went on to play the role of Kevin, the receptionist in the reboot of Ghostbusters. While the movie did not do well, Chris's character received praise for his comedic acting, and he went on to win the Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite Movie Actor for his role. In 2019, Chris played the lead role in the Netflix blockbuster movie Extraction. The movie, within its first month of release, gathered 90 million views and broke the existing viewership record, which was held by the movie Bird Box. Although his latest movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, is the fourth in the Thor movies, it received mixed reactions upon release. For Chris Hemsworth's kids, they probably had the time of their life acting on set with their father. While Chris reprised his role as Thor in the movie, his daughter India played the character Love, daughter of Gorr, the God Butcher. Tristan and Sasha Hemsworth, Hemsworth's twin boys, also appeared in the movie, with one of them acting as a young Thor in a flashback scene. Elsa Pataky, Hemsworth's real-life wife, can also be seen in an early scene when Thor makes out with a wolf woman. Discovering the risk of Alzheimer's. Quite recently, Chris stumbled upon a discovery about his health that was purely coincidental. Earlier in the year, Chris embarked on making a docuseries titled Limitless for Disney Plus that focused on his life and various activities he was trying out to improve his health and increase his lifespan. During the docuseries, he had to conduct a test, and when the results of the test came back, he found out he had a heightened risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Hemsworth found out that he inherited 2 copies of the ApoE4 gene, one from each parent, making him 8 to 10 times more likely to get the condition than people without both copies of the gene. About 2 to 3% of the population possesses 2 copies of the gene. Chris was initially confused by this revelation, since he did not know whether to panic, get furious, or get terrified. He further explained that he had no reason to fear it as he had not been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but that he had a higher risk of obtaining it. In an interview, he explained how in the past, this revelation would have meant the individual could not escape Alzheimer's. But now, because of advances in medicine and research, it is possible to avoid the disease. Hemsworth stated the initial concept for the series would have shown him receiving all his DNA test results live on camera, but series director Darren Aronofsky told him personally after they got the results. The Marvel star was offered the choice to remove all allusions to Alzheimer's disease from the program, but he chose to keep the information about his genetic risk of the disease in there, in the hopes that it would raise awareness and facilitate better understanding. Additionally, Hemsworth confirmed to the magazine that his grandfather has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease as well. He further said he would take a break from acting after finishing the publicity tour for Limitless, along with his other contracted work. Amongst these contracted works include the Mad Max sequel Furiosa, The Extraction 2, and other undisclosed works. Many fans obviously did not take this news well. The actor would be going off-screen for a while, as he plans to return back to Australia to rest and find ways to avoid Alzheimer's. Will fans still be able to enjoy new movies from him anytime soon? The answer lies in how long Chris decides. We have seen Chris Hemsworth go through a lot, from a young man scouting for any available acting opportunity to a broke man who persevered with a clear vision of what is important to him and his family. While he will be out of the public eye for a while, he'll spend more time with his family. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe for more.